Hello everybody, Hector here. As always, thank you so much for stopping by to my channel. If you're interested in learning more about crypto, personal finance, if you're a proud Cardano hodler, or if you just stopped by to say hi, which I'm cool with that, thank you so much for being here. Please consider subscribing. We talked a lot about these things and hopefully you'll learn a lot. So yeah, as you might have heard over the weekend, Grayscale just announced that ADA, Cardano, has just become their third largest holding in their large cap fund. And that of course are great news for all the Cardano community and the Cardano project in general. I know we're all excited and celebrating the good news, but what does that exactly mean? I know it's great news, but how does that affect Cardano's price action? When are the price gonna pump up, right? I know we all guys have a lot of questions, but don't worry, I'm here to help. And to answer that question, we first have to answer this question. What is Grayscale? I know for all of you guys who are seasoned investors in this universe, you guys probably already know what Grayscale is, but for those who are new to this universe, let me expound on that. Grayscale is an investing vehicle that enables investors to gain access and exposure to crypto assets in the form of securities without the challenges of having to buy and storage their own coins and all those hurdles that we crypto investors are used to. In other words, Grayscale buys the assets and they take care of the housekeeping, they take care of the storage, and they take care of all these things that we are used to as crypto investors. And then they sell these assets to other investors in the form of shares of securities, very much like you would do when you buy shares of a company in the traditional stock market. Of course, this brings some advantages to their shareholders, like not actually having to learn what the best crypto assets are and not risking putting their money in Ponzi schemes like, or having to learn how to manage your crypto wallets. These are some of the hurdles and things that we retail investors like you and I go and work around in order to invest in crypto, let alone the stress of knowing that you have millions and millions of dollars worth of value in a little piece of hardware. So if you look at it from that perspective, it makes a lot of sense investing in crypto assets in that way through a company like Grayscale. Although of course you and I, more traditional crypto investors, know that there are major disadvantages of buying crypto assets through companies like Grayscale. And the biggest one, in my opinion, is like in every security, you're not actually owning, or you don't actually own the asset. That means that in the case of a catastrophe, you're not going to be able to retrieve or take your asset, your Cardano, your Bitcoin, or whatever you're investing in with you like you would if you actually own the asset. Because when you're buying a security, you're actually buying the right to the asset's value. You can trade it, you can sell it, you can buy more if you wish so, but you don't actually own the coin. That means that you can't actually remove that coin from Grayscale's art. On top of that, another big disadvantage is the price that you have to pay for the asset. Of course, Grayscale works essentially as an intermediary, and so they have to profit. They're up for profit. They have to profit somehow, and the ultimate final customer often ends up paying this profit in the way of premiums and different fees. With that being said though, I don't really think that the average Grayscale's customer cares much about these disadvantages. And that brings me to my next point. Grayscale's customers base. We have to understand that Grayscale's targeted customer are not the average investor. They're not the average Joe. And I would argue that most of the people that are invested in crypto through Grayscale are large investors, especially in the large cap fund portfolio. If you look at the prerequisites to invest in this portfolio, in this product, their minimum investment requirement is $50,000, which is a very significant amount of money. So yeah, Most of Grayscale's customers are most likely big money people coming from the traditional markets, looking for a safe way to get some exposure to crypto. And this is where the opportunity lies, really. As we see more and more traditional investors get more and more exposure to crypto, we're going to start looking at this money also moving from the traditional markets into the crypto markets. We got to remember that the total capitalization of the crypto market as for today is tiny compared to the massive $49+ trillion market cap of the US stock market. So yeah, there's a lot of room for growth. So how will all this news potentially impact the future of Cardano then? From a technical perspective, not much really. I mean, nothing's really changed with Cardano. Cardano is still on a smooth sail towards the Gaussian era and the implementation of smart contracts, which is in and of itself a massive bullish news. I mean, I'm looking forward to that, but nothing's really changed technically. But from the economical perspective, this is what I think is going to happen. And again, I'm not a financial advisor, guys, so please be cautious if you're going to take action after listening to what I'm going to say. Just remember, I'm not a financial advisor, so be cautious. This is what I believe, in my humble opinion, is going to happen. I know when we hear big news like this of big players in the industry investing in projects like Cardano, the first thing that we think in our brains is a massive point in the price action, right? Just like what would happen if you pump that like button for the YouTube algorithm. I know, I'm sorry, I just had to do it. Okay, back to the story. While a massive price action pump could happen, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen, at least not right away. That is because these kind of behaviors in the price action largely depend on the combination of different factors, like the actual amount of money being invested versus the current supply of that coin, or the narrative of the project, and of course the state of the market. And I'm going to expound a little more on these three factors, but bear with me. So as far as the actual amount invested, let me do a little math experiment. Let me do a little dirty math here. We know that Cardano is now the third largest holding in Grayscale's large cap fund, right? Which is at this point, I think it represents 4.26% allocation in this portfolio. We also know that Grayscale manages close to $349 million worth of assets in this portfolio. Now, let me do this little dirty math here. Oh yeah, it looks like a lot of money. I'm just kidding. Hold on. Well, this is equal to around $14 million, give or take. At the current price of ADA, this represents close to 10 million ADA. Yeah, locked up, out of circulation. Great news, right? Well, where's the price pump then? Well, actually, there was a little price pump. Not a big one, but there was a little bit. But let me explain why I think we shouldn't expect big pumps like the 2x, 3x, 4x, 20x that we are all expecting of Cardano in the future. Let me explain why I think we shouldn't expect big pumps like that just based on the amount of money invested itself. A very basic thing that you can do to kind of estimate how a purchase of an asset will affect its price is by adding the amount of money invested to the total market cap and then divide that by the number of circulating coins at that moment. So now if you compare that to the current price of ADA in the market right now, you'll see that $14 million barely moves the needle. Which yet brings me to my next 2 points. Narrative and the state of the market. To illustrate this point, I'm going to bring you back 5 months ago when Grayscale first announced that they were filing for a Cardano Trust. Back then, ADA's price spiked like 32% to the upside just by the mere announcement. I mean, there was no literal money invested in the market yet. It was just the announcement. Why then, now that Grayscale is actually putting money in the market, the prices seem to be stagnant? I mean, if anything, they barely moved. The answer is because of the narrative and the state of the market. These two factors, in my opinion, can easily outweigh fundamentals in a short term. Not in the long run, but yes in the short term. Just look at Bitcoin, for instance. For the first time in the history of cryptocurrencies, a country, a sovereign country, has adopted cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, as their legal tender. Yes, El Salvador just a few weeks ago officialized this announcement, and now you can buy whatever you want in El Salvador with Bitcoin, from bread to a vehicle to Coke in a plastic bag. MicroStrategies just announced that they were buying millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. And yet, the price action of Bitcoin has been struggling to break through $35,000. I mean, we have been bouncing back and forth in this range for like 2 months. Pretty boring, right? And the reason is because we just experienced one of the worst, if not the worst, correction in the history of crypto. Like, we went down close to 55%. Yes, the levels of fear in the market are still high. People are a lot more cautious and conservative now than they were back 5 months ago, where every project or all projects were in profits. I mean, wherever you put your money back in, I don't know, November, October last year, you were in profits in February. So it's a whole different landscape that we're experiencing right now. So if you were hoping or wondering why we haven't seen those massive spikes in the price of ADA after news like this, that is the reason. At least those are my thoughts. So just be patient. The reality is that news like this are still extremely bullish in the long term. They build positively in the narrative of the Cardano project, and it validates its potential before large investors, which brings a whole range of new opportunities. I think we're going to see the fruits of this news, of this kind of news, in the next few months, maybe in the next year, when the market has recovered from this horrible episode of this correction and people start recovering their confidence in the crypto market. But until now, huddle up, guys. And again, just be patient. Cardano is a fantastic project. A fantastic ecosystem is being built right now. So this has been for today, guys. It's been a short one. I just wanted to add my 2 cents to the conversation. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor. If you're bullish on crypto, if you're bullish on Cardano, why don't you just pump that like button for the YouTube algorithm and send it to the moon. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and don't forget, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you, guys. This has been Hector, and I'll see you when I'll see you.